What is that indication when it comes into monkey see, monkey do? Monkey sees line settings of everything in position location, inside and out line conditions. Monkey does anything it wants to understand its position location, why it's seen in its first place location system. It's all track lines of memory inside line conditionalized system. The high lines and 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 high location system is tracking line communications. Now, in that direct signal locations, you have to understand why it did an audio repeat location system. We're coming into the throat pattern. The throat is very powerful. Line conditions to its connecting settings. It's apathic line calculations to the pyramidus. Now, pyramidus line calculation setting. There's a little lines of a pyramid that's set like that's an indicator. So it's kind of it sets its tone, right? It knows its difference of going up and down, up and down, up and down. Transmitting, receiving, transmitting, receiving, transmitting, receiving. What? Did you say that? Did you say that? Did you see what? Did you see what? In that position locations, we have to really understand. We have to really understand. See how I change the track line? See how I change the track line? In setting position, in setting position. Oh no, error. Coordinate line, center line, interference to track line communication system, matrices, and how to use your throat patterns of 9 lines, 6 position locations. Now, you're also in phenomenon 4 lines into 8. This is infinity line and rotation interference and position location, high center line, position location, track line. The visual location of lines of triangulation, 0 operational line settings, 0 line conditions, high position of 1, 2, 3, and 5. 6 lines of 7 locations, 8. Now, 8 lines, 10 lines, and 7 line position locations is 5. 5 big lines at 12 line interference lines, back and set location of 0 gravity at 12 positions. We have to recognize how to use our calculation settings when we come into a voice grid location. You have to stand from here and there. Okay, true stand. You're sending something out, bringing something back, right? Bringing it back, right? That's a true stand when you throw a boomerang, right? You get hit, so you know exactly it's going to come back eventually, right? So that's connected to the throat. 3 line sending line interference, high track line communication system. Sonar interference location of right lines, or everything's the left line communication. I'm using the line calculations of pathogen channel in position location of my hand formation line setting. This is my right line, this is my left. This is my right position of Earth, this is my left position location of space. Right division, left division, center calculation, split center calculation, flux capacitor line position locations. Product line change, line calculation system. Position locations, theta line setting, the high line calculation streamlines. You guys are in your infinity lines of 4, position of 8, infinity line calculation, solar streamline position of track lines. That has to recognize the position, location, and directions, right? The intercommunication settings really understand how to use your light bodies now. Your light body's finally taken over its set location system. It's kind of like trying to understand how to set position location of a tone line, and it understands all levels of calculations, but it sets a virus communication deviation to all levels of security, position location, parameter line calculations. You didn't check your walls, your line calculation system, your computer operation line interference. They understand position location. All it recognizes red alert. Communication line interference, high track line communication or offsetting. Light body has to understand a true communication system. The calculation line interference, the calculation of pi, represents time sequence, is coming into 3 track lines of line sending locations into numbers 1, 0, 0. Once we reach the 1 line sending and 0, 0 operation line calculation system, we change all direct line connections to its light body transaction. That transaction transfuses its location system into an infusing line sending into its morphing locations. That puts a channel operation line calculations to all levels of 0 to 12 line calculation streamline. The activation line center is no longer an I9, it's an I12 set locations. Easier in position to integrate the avatar setting in direct line system. This opens up higher levels of channel and operation service. Now, once they wake up the line communication line position, this puts them in allocate line center to the streamline. This gets them into more memory set line conditions, how to use the keyboards, key phrase, key codes. Calculations levels, diameter line switches, position of the scales, balance, position, operation, surface, in-track line communication system. So we have to really recognize I-12 and set line condition system, because this is line communicating that's setting your signals and set location system. Neurology, line conditions, pathogens, line conditions, physiology, line interference, okay, psychological, calculations and psychologically, calculation line and position location psychosis, line directing height, calculations of op signal locations into nano settings. Right, some time signal locations of pi line recognition, line interference, signal line position locations. What am I doing through indication? All levels, my throat. We voice our line setting. Your throat becomes everything in your body is a story frame. Okay, everything through my hand is a story frame. But you understand my right and my left and my left and my right. What is it in direct location of indication? What is it? It's intelligence. How to communicate with your fingers and your thumbs in communications. How to communicate with the moon, the sun, and everything through weather communication. How to understand how to use the right and left and right in set location hologram line setting. How to understand how to use your watch in communication, your digital line fingers and finger point line calculation system. Now, 10 line track line calculation system, 10-20 on the track line and position locations, high levels of 12 line setting. Well, that's a record of time sequence. Every time it goes around the 12 line interference, it's a 24 signal, 48 line window, 72 computer, and 144 crystal grid. That's allocated position location in your operation surface that opens all calculations in your settings. This puts out line direct line center location, how you platitude line positions, how to use your throat pattern. You got to get used to that line connection. See how it changes rhythm patterns? Everything is auto repeat, auto repeat, auto repeat, auto repeat. Now, understanding the input and output line connection to the moon, it interlaces, and intercalculates position, location, and interception. It sends line communication at all levels into sun line. You got the sun communication, you got the moon operation. Center communication is truly understanding how everything works to the throat line setting. Direction and time sequence puts you in a higher calculation system. This relines, redirects, and resignals your position in your throat line calculation system. Now, when you understand how to use the clustrum, is a throat panel calculation, 2 panels. It has 2 ladder lines and line interference. So it's like climbing that ladder. You go faster and faster, right? So we have to recognize our space line and understand when we go forward and come back. So really understand how to use the rhythm pattern, your fluctuation, especially when you're communicating with 3-dimensional line settings. It's all calculated, modified. How you sequence your position location of track lines into pathological change in line communication system, quantum interference, quasar line calculation system, 2 in the track, 3 line in center, 4 line in position, 5 in center, 6 in activation, and position locations into 7 operation, done by equation. Now, line signaling is trying to understand how to open up sequence patterns. It's a direction of time sequence. Time sequence is really understand the systematic line conditions of change. Really understand change position location. This is a geometric operation line conditionized setting into all calculations. Automatic view and set location. So we really have to understand how our hands work in the geometric line setting. So that's what your body is at all levels of consciousness. It's changing position. 1 division, 2 division, 3 division. Okay? Setting communications, all levels of digital layers. You got 1 line platform, 2 line platform, or 3. 1 is 1 layer. 2, okay, it's 2 layers. 3 is 3 layers. Okay? Setting calculation line interference. Signal over position. Interline is calculation streamline. Alpha line channel. Delta wave. Okay. Signal line channel operation stream. Signal line calculation setting in the position of mega universe line calculation streamline in position locations in a cyclone high calculation. Now, really understand how to recognize throw patterns to set lines of pattern defense line channels. This opens all signal locations and how you center your communication setting. Remember, you're coming into 3 line settings of digital code, digital framing, digital clocking in your crop circle calculation lane, high center line position. You start to use your throat as a story frame of calculation. Modify high center line interference opens all calculation modification line setting, right? Redirect signal. Everything is a different line channel operation stream. Signal line connection. Backwards and forwards calculation. Electrical line wires. Hydraulics. High center, change position. Up position. Side position. Down position. Up position. Sideline interference line position of the circle line. Now, all lines of communication is really understand how to use your hand information line settings. You have to really understand how to adapt more levels of your body inside locations, right? I'm doing this all through structure, through my fingers. Every time I'm speaking, I'm communicating line interference and changing track communication setting and operation surface. You're setting calculations to its intention, satellite communication antennas, satellite position location of track lines, and operation surface. Done by equation. So every time I talk, I'm communicating to my hand, and it's always in balance, right? Now, if I'm off signal, it sets a glitch. So I didn't let my hand know. So if you don't let your hand know, your hand's not indicated in its position location. So if I'm speaking and I'm still speaking, and it's trying to understand what I'm saying, what is it doing? It's in a glitch. So I got to reactivate line center line interference, a space line communication. Now they're trying to interconnect with each other. So the anomaly is the line communication of right lines and position of left line, space communication of ground lines, and left position location of high setting. It's redirecting signals in position location. Now, when you have a plateau of a line string, okay, setting calculation line interference. Now you're looking at the sun position locations. Now, every time you come close to it, what is it doing? It's going farther. It's moving away from you, right? But it's actually coming closer to you because you're integrated to the line setting. So once you come closer to its set location, it opens up. So the sun and moon are integrated to each other, and they set a line communication. See the open signal? See that line calculation line interference? See the hectagon line communication setting? Right? Signal line position location open up signals. Separate communication. Now, really understand, I'm using my hand information, but I'm using my throat. Every time I use my throat, my center line communication is on signal. But if it's off signal line communication, it glitches on its own setting. So you're going ahead of time in set line conditions. You got to get balance in your communication, or it just your hand goes crazy. It gets in a glitch. Finger point communication clock line. It won't go forward until you get back in position with patience, and then you have an indication back in the clocking. Goes faster. Signal off interference position location offline calculation line is not position to track line. Signal position operation setting. Scan position. Bring it back calculation. Scan line setting. Open signal. Reset division. Calculate modified. Now, try to stand. Everything I'm doing through my throat is extremely powerful, all through hand formation line setting. Your story frame is trying to stand indication to its light body. So I spent 15 line settings in position of 30 track line setting line interference and 0 to 9 line calculation line interference of 17 position locations in the high setting line position of 6 thumbs up position track line. Now in direct signal locations, truly understand how to use it through panels. What's a panel communication of the high setting locations into my hand? Hand indicates position. Now, if I do this in that line and it tries to communicate, what happens is that line conditions. It integrates its line setting and line interference and sets a virus. So it sets communication and it goes the opposite direction. It goes off on its own. So you have to indicate it, look at it, direct signal, bring it back, and then communicate with it. Right? Comes back in signal. Now, if you understand how use the calculation line interference in direct signals. So ever since I was a kid line setting and high interference, all levels of awareness, I used to do like figuring line calculation line settings in position locations into animals. You know, I look at the skylines and I see the pictures and rotation surface, know exactly what is the face recognition line setting. So I'm always constantly, always using my hand formation line settings because it's intelligence. It's always the level of calculations. Setting direct line signals in position locations. You know the line calculations of baby, child, teenager, adult, right? Setting line conditions of the moon and position of the sun indicate high system, 2-track line setting. Setting line interference, bringing position location. Over cross signals. Signal line interference. Open signal, position location, around rotation line interference location, circulatory line, communication line. All levels of high signal. The hydraulics line conditions of high system is trying to understand how to use the geometric operation of change. So what it's doing is changing its position locations. You're constantly using your throat as a connection to a frame line. It's changing direct line signals. Magnet to a magnet doesn't have a positional operation surface if it doesn't understand its intel locations. It would just bound off in communication. There's no indication of metal line, right? Until you get bound. And then it indicates and rotates its surface. Changes position. Flattens its surface. Rotates its line calculations up and down. Goes faster and faster and faster and faster. So it's plotted to in line calculation line setting. It's all records of time sequence. Redirecting signs is a line communications to its program, but it's all connected to your throat, right? You guys come into your definitive breath. Sacred breath, right? So you can use your hand in the same motion with connection high sitting. You're trying to find a balance with your breathing and using your hands at the same time through its intelligence. All right, so blowing signals through hand formation. Right? It just, see what I'm doing? Up, down, up, down, side to side, The hydraulics really start to use that communication. It's more levels of mind setting, but you're using the indication to all your senses, your sensory communication to its position, right? So understand that through line calculation setting, you have to really redirect location to a system, right? So it's really understand how to use your hands. It's waiting for signals to understand you through operation locations. It already is in its operation, you just have to learn how to use it in all position. All right. In that calculations, we get into 9 settings, into 6 position. Now, getting into 6 lines is 9 over pi, direction of time sequence. So we have to get into that track line communications, right? We start with this indication. Bracket 2 calculation line settings, 2 panels, right? Operation line surface and 2 line setting, and rotation surface line condition system, crossing signals and set line condition settings. Redirect signal location and system, track lines, operation surface locations, into the line position to its signals. Sig calculation line and rotation, position location, and atom line setting. Now, indirect signals, we set line communication of 0 line and 0 line and 0 line communication setting, right? Triangulation and 3 line and position of box line rotation surface and set location system done by equation. All right, so setting track lines and interference. Throat pattern communication of binary line settings. Okay, so we come into this position locations. So here we go, 2 line track and set locations, all right? Setting indication locations, right? Tracking lines, 0 line rotation surface and set ground lines. Direction of time sequence opens all position of panel lines. High calculation of lines of illumination 0 line rotation surface. Redirect signals, set location system, and track lines in 3 set location. Now, in that track line interference, we set a flux path communication that indicates line set location of 1 lines of 3 lines of 5 lines of 7 lines of 12, setting calculation setting, 12 in the top line, 24 in the set line communication ground line center. Operation surface in a 48 window, 72 track, and 144 grid line setting and rotation surface, another ground line operation surface and set location system. This opens all line calculation setting to another pyramid line rotation surface and ground operation. Now, setting calculation line interference to really understand how to set communication. UFO line, and 2 track location setting. Redirect signal locations. That puts in 4 lines, a position of 8. Infinity cycles of set lines and communication triangle lines. Setting calculation of infinity cycle, set locations. Operation of surface. Flywheel direction of time sequence. We take the 1 line, the 12 line, and position of 24 line rotations into 3 and then 5 and then 7 location, 12 line center line interference. We set a line condition of 9, position location, equal line of 6 lines of all position of throw pattern, calculation line interference, into a hologram line center, into dome recognition of time sequence location of patterns. Done by equation. Okay. So getting into 0 operation line settings, equal lines of 9 line centers of 0, the lines of position of box into triangle set line condition setting. That directs its signals. Setting direct signal locations into plasma line interference, the TV line setting, TV reception locations, and position location operations with surface location setting. Redirect line settings, box lines, and triangle line position location operations set locations. Triangle line interference, box line position location triangulations. Pi directional line calculation setting and position of pi. Sun comes in, line rotation surface and set locations. Moon line operates at 0 operation line and position location of 9. 9 indicates line position, line condition of 6. 6 is above this system locations. 6 lines at channel, moon line rotation surface, and track line communication. 6 lines of half line position, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 line setting, rotation surface, and set location system. That way equation. All right, 0 line calculation, line identification, operation line settings. 2 bracket locations, 0, 0, 0, 0. 4 line setting. Equal line conditions are 1, 2, 3, 2 position locations. So we got a triangle line interference, 5 above and 4 below. All right, so we take the 5 line in line interference, we take the 4 line position location track line, 0 line interference, line position line conditions of 9, 9 line centers of 6, line position location 9 over here, and 9, 6 line setting, and position locations to an energy wash. Second communication line setting, direct line signals, and location system. Done by equation. Blocking centers, rotation servers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 line center and rotation line connections. So the 96 lines in line interference, we take the 4 lines and 8 line interference, 4 line track, 8 line interference, infinity cycle location of 8, 8 position, 8, 8 position, 8, 8 position, 8, 8 position, 8 position. Now that line calculation line interference comes in line conditions of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 7 lines of 8, 8 in position, split the line settings and all calculations of space and time. Done by equation. All right. Infinity realm, rotation surface, and all set line conditionalized system. 96 lines, line conditionalized system. This scratches the surface. Now scratch line setting, line interference, and track line communication opens all levels. So lines and lines of 48, rotation surface, infinity cycle, and set location setting. Now redirecting line interference into position of flywheel, direction of time sequence, puts position location of line set location of 12 line settings and rotation surface to another dimensional door set location. That dimensional door comes back in track line communication, inner lines its center line in rotation setting. This sun's lines its sun line, rotation surface, sun comes in line rotation, and moves operation to its system, high system location. 9 line 6, 9 line 6, and its sun and the moon set locations. Done by equation. All right. Throw pattern, interference of channel, operation line setting, line conditionalized system, retrack line calculation settings. And again, we go through these line communications in 2 lines. Inner line communication, circle line rotation surface, circle line rotation surface, circle line rotation surface, circle line rotation surface, and set location. Now this indicates line setting, line interference, and new position location of programs. That's your throw. Center calculations, strip line, down line, and rotation setting. Calculates the high center line interference. So we take the line position of 0, 0, 0, 1 line, 0. We take the 0, 0, 1 line, 0, and we take the 0, 0, 0, 0, 1 line, 0, 0. Then we set lines of 0, 0, 1 line, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0 line, 0. And then we go 0 line, 1 line, 0, 0, 0, 0 line, 1, 0, 0, 0 line, 1, 0 line, 1. And set location setting. Down by equation. Okay, indicate line, center location of clustering. Now, the cluster line is standards high position locations in position location of binary codes. Indicate line interference and set location to your Merkabah position location high setting. Redirect signals and set line condition system and position location high interference. This sets line position location higher lines and high rotation surface and set locations. This indicates lines of 1, 2, 3 in position to operation line settings in 1 position of 4. Line condition of 3, and then line condition high 7. 7 in center operation, circle line communication, dimensional lines of 12 line rotation surface, and set location system. All right, done by equation. Okay, so setting up the Merkabah and the tesseract set locations comes into block line rotation surface. Okay, so this basically puts position locations, open rides, open drives, and comes into initiation line setting rotation surface and block centers. Rest of time sequence, 0 line, and triangulation with a tic-tac-toe, crossing signals. Get it? X line, X line, X line, crossing signals, locations, right? That indicates line condition of flux capacitor, line channels operation, signals its position location operation lines, opens up our operation division line into all calculation box line, equals a triangle line, position locations, equals position locations in its operation service into new panel of its new position locations in its pyramid set location. That's my equation. All right, framing centers is recognition of time lines. We have to really understand how to set lines of communication to center lines of operation in position of magnetic high rate information line setting. Okay, setting 2 track lines operation surface into ground line operation setting. Redirecting signals and set locations in set location. Now, this indicates the ground lines and rotation surface. Setting position locations into triangulation, into triangulation, into triangulation set location. Now this indicates line conditions to all levels. This is where we open up new channel operation line settings into triangulation overlaps. Overlaps its signal and set location system. Track lines line interference in position of left, in position of right, in position of left, in position of right. It's set line condition of left and position location of right. 2 panels operation line condition high setting, track location. This opens up channels, lines of travel, and position lines of travel communications, merges lines of rotation surface, setting communication, operations, set line conditionalized setting, redirecting signals and set location system. This allocates line center location of throw patterns, center line communication and downshift, cross lines, operations, surface, and new position location, track lines, done by equation. All right, and so getting you guys ready for 96 line setting. 96 line condition of 0, 0, 0, and 3 set locations. Equal line conditions in position into 4 equal line conditions of 0, 0, 0, 0, setting communications and line interference, and 5 top lines, bracket line calculation system, line conditions of 7 locations of 12 line center, 24 in the center communications, indicates 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and set lines. So we gun line, center line into 6, 6, 1, 2, 3, in top, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, and 6 into a new pyramid line in a lock system location and bottom line setting. This puts the location of north, line position of east, and position of west, and south line communication. Consoles is communication, center calculation, 96 line channels, equal line conditions to its box, line conditions to its triangles at location setting. Done by equation. All right, so it's how you indicate settings to a formula line setting to throw set locations, right? There's some timelines. It's all about understanding how to use the capacitor over pi. Now, capacitor over pi is really understand how the indication to its magnetic high wave formation line stream sets line condition system. Cloud line channels, operation to its system locations, right? Channels its line center and line interference, a plasma line calculation setting. Opens up signal line interference, line condition system, position of track line communication. Center lines its system, downshifts its cross line and 12 line measure and set line condition system and direct signals. Setting direct signal to another open line rotation surface into a black hole and two position of 12 lines, 45-degree angle, line center line interference, equal line condition system. Sets position of 2 line center line at 50 and set line condition system, line into rotations in the new flux capacitor channel line stream location setting. Indirect signals, done by equation. All right, setting position locations in a black hole line rotation, setting calculations, all line setting, another black hole communication, another black hole communication, another line interference, circle line communications, and position of track lines in set location setting. Now, directing signals, we understand how to zero line its rotation surface, line connecting right through space in the lines of position of time, setting calculation to its system. So this opens up all levels of division line center, rotation surface. Okay, it's set line connections. Now track lines, we go into the opposite circle, setting direct line signals. Black hole sets line communication indicator. It sets lines at 3 line positions of perimeters. Line connection to graph lines, rotation surface in this direct location system. Crosses signals in this line connection line setting in direct line system. Now this opens all calculations to another Merkabah line rotation of tesseract. This opens all channels, line position location, higher setting. These redirect signals in set locations. Now, indicating line interline rotation interference is to understand how to use the position locations into higher levels, into mode signals and set locations into its UFO plateau. And that rotates the surface. We scan the lines of zero operation line interference and set location to a system and track line conditions. Done by equation. Hold on a second. Waiting on signal position. So it's all about using indication, right? It's really how to set things up in set line condition high system, anything through track line communications, because you guys are going to the higher level settings into travel orchestra time sequence. So throat interference is interface and its position of track line high setting interference. So we take the lines of 0, 0, 0, 0. We've got line conditions of 4, line position of 5. Now you have to really understand how this works in all set lines. We go position locations up, and we go position locations of down, center communication line position of 4 lines in set location system, and track lines. So 4 lines equal line conditions of 5, 5 lines at position of positive or negative, negative in position locations into positive, and position of negative into positive, and negative into positive, and positive into negative location setting. Now directing signal locations in the Merkabah setting shift lines on high center interference in direct locations of 5 over 5 line high position locations, 4 line channels. 4 lines of conditions of 5, 5 line center locations, high setting, puts position of 6 and 6 line conditions of 2 tube line rotations, another rotation surface in set location setting. Indirect signals a 0 operation to its surface line in position of 4 lines and a 5 line rotation surface in set locations. Indicates lines in position of 2 panels, operation stream location unit system. Travels line calculation setting in position location to higher line calculation setting to a new Merkabah set lines at tesseract line position location operation and 3 set line condition system indirect signals. Done by equation. All right. And so setting these things up, guys, is really understand how to use the throat line, how to rotate the surface. So we go up line setting and we downshift cross location, right? So this up signals line interference. So we take the 0 line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 line set locations, right? We take the 0 line, cross the signals, 1 position, 2 position, 3 position, 4, 5 position, 6 position, 17 or more, 9, 10, 11, and 12 set locations, downshift cross lines. Setting cross line and line interference, see the half pi? Setting calculation of 6. Center lines as open signals in set location system, and this is where the moon comes in high rotation. Setting line interference is sun lines and set lines of 0 operation to its surface, sets long communications in position locations, into line setting in track line conditions into 9 position of track line communication. Now that indicates a line center. We set line position locations. Alpha comes to alpha, delta, theta, beta, omega, and all levels of radiation line conditionized setting. This redirects signal locations into 9 line center line interference. We go back and track lines of 6 line position. Moon crosses line center line interference and set location of 3 set line condition of triangulation. And set line division done by equation. Look how powerful that is, locations. Okay, so setting that track line is really understand how to use open sequence patterns, guys. This is amazing stuff when you come to all calculations with settings. So 0 line rotation, 0 line rotation, 0 line rotations, and 4 line setting. Remember, you have to understand how to set line communications, 5 line settings, center communication, triangulation. So it's pi and position location indications are levels. Pi equals line, center line is a travel communication and position. Right? Redirect signals, open line position locations, all levels of travel, and line interference. We take the lines of 1, in position of 2, in position of 3 in set location setting, redirect line center location of 4. 4 lines is center line, rotates its half pi calculations. Center calculations, sun comes in line rotation into pi calculation setting. Redirect signals into moon crosses stream and set line calculation center in position. Now, center communications, we understand how to use the indicator line interference of 3 positional programs. Center calculation lines of 6, line crosses over 9, 9 position over 6, 9, 6 lines of energy wash, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, energetic roams, line center line interference of wrongs, and calculation streamline done by equation. All right, so indicators. We understand the modifications to the psychological line conditionized system. Paraphrasing, let's go line center line interference. Calculation setting into all position locations. Now this phrase, its line center lines of 6, in position of 9, 9 center lines at 6 locations. Generational line in position location of pi. Correlational lines crosses streamline and rotation surface in set location setting. Redirecting 2 panels of operational line setting. Operation to its surface, operation to center, operation to its system. Then a track line communication to its Merkaba, to new tesseract, to operational line calculation system, to your position locations, put in a higher level calculation line setting into a Stargate line rotation. Now that Stargate line is a center line. It rotates its system in position location of 12 lines in position of paraphrasing. Operation to the sun opens all signals into the center line communication. Center communication travels its line setting in the opposite direction locations. Setting communication, setting communication, setting communication. In laser direct line setting, direct locations, done by equation. All right. So it's important to understand how to use the calculation modification lines of 0 line rotations. 2 panel line rotation, throw pattern communication to center line, position of 0 operation, in position of high setting, into your cloud line channel operation stream locations, right? This indicates the cloud lines. This operates its surface and set location setting, set location setting, set location setting, set location settings, and 4 set locations. This indicates line condition electrical line wires and position location, high center position. This operates its circle, instant line connection system, new ground line operation, new ground line operation, new ground line operation, 2 pads, line rotation, 3 set location setting, direct signals. Setting direct signal line, position location, high position, high position, high position. Center calculation line and position, center calculation line position, center calculation line position, high setting. Okay, so setting communication triangulation, setting communication of box line, rotation surface. Setting calculation line position all levels, setting communication all levels line condition high setting, and higher travel communications into its GOD in its geometrical line condition, a new tesseract location. There's a new tesseract. All right, so you really understand how this all works inside line conditionized system, especially when you come into 90 lines of 6. So we take the 96 line conditions of box, line conditions of triangles, that's line condition system. This puts an 8-track lines, atmosphere line rotations, in position locations, and alpha wave in communication. Now, the alpha line, center line interference, altitudes is lines of 0, and position location of 1, position location of 5, and position location of 4, 3, 2, and 1 set locations. Waving cycles line conditions of delta and position of theta. Theta lines is center lines operation of its box, center calculation, center line interference, center position locations, and 4 line position of 4 box locations. Done by equation. All right, so alpha channel, alpha mega line setting. Okay, so we have 3-line communication and 7-line condition settings, right? Direction of timelines and operations surface locations, ground line signals. Signals and line interference opens all channel operation into another dimensional line rotation surface into the back's line, high line position of track line. Setting communication lines of sun communication, the center lines, operation surface, in a line communication, right? Swivels and line calculation setting. This redirects signals, set line calculation of throat line and set location, high setting. This redirect line, center line interference, and position higher measures in correlation. Setting track lines and high center interference. Setting open all signals and set location system in track communication. Done by equation. All right. Center communication of 0 lines, rotation surface, and set line calculation settings. Operation surface and position. Okay. Operation surface and position locations. Operation surface and implication line setting. Now redirecting line interference and position up and down and cross and location setting into a new Stargate setting. Stargating line in position, stargating line in position, and cross and stream and downshift line cross locations. So setting communications lines, its indication line interference of 2 lines of 2 operation surface location system. Tracks lines and high calculation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and center line condition system. Travels line center line interference. So that puts 9 in position of 6 in set location, 9 in center, 6 in position. 9-6 line setting, 9-6 line setting, 9-6 line setting. 2 panels operation line condition of balance in set location system. 3-line setting, 3-line setting, 3-line setting. Heart, mind, soul. Rest of time sequence location above signal. Bracket communication system. 3 lines in the line position, 4 line setting, 7 in the center operation to triangulation position locations into box calculation modification system and direct line signals into all calculations done by equation. All right, so the indication line settings to understand how it works in all ways and forms of travel. So getting in that travel line setting, we set up a flux path of 0 lines. Okay, 1, 2, 3, or 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sets line communication line setting. So 5 lines of track, 4 line center interference. So we take the 5 line, sending communication in line is at 4. 4 line conditions, 5 lines position of 4, sending communications. So in that line communication, 5 line comes into 6, travels communication, operation line interference is set location setting. This direct line, center line interference, plasma line, plasma line, plasma line, plasma line communication, center line calculation setting. Walking signal lines of 0, operation of 0 line, 0 line, 0 line, 0 line, 0 line. Sending communication to that system to its direct line signal. Sending communication of 5 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Sending calculation setting. Open lines, operation surface location system. This track lines operation line setting, high position locations. This implicates high line rotation in position location, higher calculation in crop circles and set location setting in direct signal. Now direct signal travels its line set line calculation system. This crisscross its line signals, 2 line settings and 2 panels operation lines and 2 platform communications. Done by equation. All right. So understanding how this indicates is really understanding how to use in all ways and forms, right? We have to learn how to use the track communication setting. So in that line communication system, it's all levels. We got thumbs up and 9. See, that's it. Thumbs up, not line 9 line interference. We got 21 line rotations into 43 set locations, setting line position locations into 44. 2 solar generation line streams in position of 2 panels, operation surface and set location system in track line communication. All right, done by equation. All right, so that's changed the indication lines and locations to your throat settings. Now, we said how to use monotone. Everybody knows that track line communication. It opens all signals, right? So you got the alpha line, you got the delta wave, you got the theta communication, right? You got the mega line setting and set location system, right? All wave line settings. Now we indicate line interference. This is where it comes into all position location of box and position of triangle set line condition system. Throw pattern communication line crosses its stream, sending communication indications into box, line position of triangle. Now center communication triangle sets line communication of box, sets communication of triangle, sets communication of box line setting. Indirect signals. So you're taking the masculinity, box line rotation, triangulation into the female line rotations. So masculinity and femininity crosses signals in dimensional line rotation surface, setting line position locations into two set locations. Kaleidoscope line setting and rotation setting, high setting. Redirect signals in set locations, redirect signals in set locations, redirect signals in set locations, redirect signals in set locations to center lines in position location to zero operations, surface, and set line connections. Demo equation. Okay. Operation surface, how to use the calculation modification line setting. So we take the zero line operation, the triangle line position locations, and the box line calculation setting, indirect signals, and set location system. This tracks lines as calculations into 1, 2, 3 lines, 3 sets line calculations, 3 and set location system. Now, taking that track lines, we take 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's 34 line rotations, right? So that's line conditions all 7. So 4 lines of 3, equal lines in position location, 7 center lines in rotation surface. Setting line 7 to line position location of 5. So we take the 5 lines in position, 12 lines, equal line conditions of 7, 7 equals 5, 5 line equals line conditions of 8, and line condition setting in position of 9, and 9, 6 line rotation surface. Moon operation to its center line calculation system operates direct line setting to its realm of calculation stream. Down by equation. All right. And so you have to indicate how to really understand how to use bandwidth high calculation setting. So we have 2 panels and rotation surface location. So that is an H line setting. H line setting rotations of 2 platforms, setting calculation, and position of 0 operations to set location setting. Now this directs signals. Okay, we understand how to set location hologram lines. Setting calculation opposite line calculation setting indirect signal locations. Now this indicates high center line positions. It gets more complicated when you go into higher calculations into digital framing. Digital framing lines is communication of higher calculations, more levels of a hologram line setting, a hologram stream location to its setting. Understand that all position location when it comes into higher calculations into travel set location. Okay, platforms of calculation. Now, getting that indication is to really understand how to use the flux capacitor location of channels, guys. We have to really understand how to set these things up in hologram line setting because it's all redirect signals. So setting dimensional lines, rotation surface, and set locations. Setting direct signals lines of orb line channels operation crosses streams. Setting calculation line, position location, orb line channels into a spectrum communication setting, indirect signals into a 0 operation of ground operation setting. Down by equation. All right. So really understand that travel mechanism is really understand how to use all ways and forms through your set line communications. All right. So how's everybody doing today? It's a lot going on, right? All through 96 line setting, high position, and 48 line setting is a phenomenal location of channels. All right. Let's see. Nikki, Heather, correlation system, Gypsy, Geneva, Melissa, Johnny, Hemdall. Trinity, general, calculation line and position location is operated to signals. Now, position locations, all captain, calculation setting, direct signals, high calculation interference. Laura. All right, Andre. Trinity. All right, so there's a lot of calculation line settings here. We have to really recognize how to use formation location of 0 lines, right? So we got lines of waving cycles and 3 set lines of 4, okay? We have to indicate what it means through line condition system. You start with the alpha, delta, theta, and position locations. Beta sets lines in high ground line interference, okay? So theta line is operation to its omega line calculation system. That puts lines of position location of 4 lines of 8 line rotations, 4 8-line centers and set locations into its energetic wall pattern communications to its center communication setting, indirect signals, down by equation. So the 4-line centers and position location of 5, 5-line centers of 4 is all set at location of 9, 9 position of 6, setting calculation line interference. If we take the 48, we already know what it is, the window line, 4-line center line condition clock, in center communication, and center line in setting. Fibonacci swirl, line communication to its system locations, indicates 4 lines, solar line rotation surface in the opposite direct locations into 6th position, into the moon operation surface in set location setting. This redirects line signals in set line condition system to the line communication of the sun operation surface. Sun operation center lines is calculation line inference, setting track lines of 3 set location settings, directing signal. All right, in that set line communication system, it opens up all channels. Now the channel line, okay, channel line communication. This is really exciting stuff. Now this comes into theta box. So they have theta line interference, operation to a surface location of sun position. Signals and set locations. All right. Now indicates line calculation lines. Now that rotates the surface into position. Seed pod line tracks is line calculation system of half pi. So 6 lines of high calculation and measures its mine lines of center operation surface and set location system and higher track line settings, directing signals and position locations into all set location. All right, done by equation. All right. So remember, understanding how to modify all this is really understand how to use everything in your set line communications, guys. It's very powerful when you come into all that set locations. All right. All right. So clouding operation line settings and high track line communication into its clustrum is an open signal in set line conditions. Now, channel line centers, lines that streamline indicates its system. Travels line setting, rotation surface, and positions of panels in 3 set line conditions. This crosses signals. So we got line calculation system 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, so again, we want to line set, but this time we take the 0 line crosses over, 1 line crosses over, 2 line crosses over, 3 line crosses over, 4 line crosses over, 5, 6. So throat's got to be balanced at 2 panel line interference and set lines and high sound line setting and position location of track lines. All signals locations, right? 9 lines in position of 10 and line center location 11 and position location of 12. So locations, both side line conditions, right? Travel communication. So we go with the line interference. Setting communication in center line. So 0 operation, 0 operation. 1 line's operation, 1 operation. 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7. Okay, track lines. Inset line conditions 8, 8, 9, 9. And position location 10, 10, 11, 11, 12, 12, and set locations. Done by equation, right? Rotation surface line conditions. Okay, string lines, high sound line conditions, high settings. Really about redirecting line calculations of 0 operations to surface. Setting track communications. All right, so we indicate that line setting, right? Indicating is extremely powerful when you're coming into analyzing. You know, analyzing is modification to its system, neurological location setting. Redirecting signals. So you got 0 lines, so 0 line, 0 line. It was location of 1. Now 1 line, 0. Now setting the operation to its surface, really understand how to set line communications into your 0, 1 track line connection setting. Redirecting graph lines, electrical line communication, and position locations. This indicates your settings and all level settings. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 graphs lined down the streamline. Okay? Setting calculation high interference 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in set line condition system. So that puts line centers of 0 to 9, 9 position of 0, equal line conditions of 9, equal line set it, indirect signals. Now it gets complicated. How we're going to merge and coordinate its line calculation of 0 lines. The rotation surface location is 9 line setting, right? Panels calculations, all right? So that's longitude and latitude line setting, line connection system. Longitude line interference and latitude communication, right? Calculation modify. 1 line center line is a 1, 1 line center of 0, 0 line position of 1, 1 line center of 0, 0 position of 1. Cross and single line interference, bracket communication on 1 line rotation, center line position of 0, 1, 0 line rotation, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 line communication, cross the signals, cross and line calculation setting, 2 panel operation line, splits the 9, 9, 9 line, 9 line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 line rotations, 5 line calculation system, indirect signals. So that's puts line calculation system of 5 line tracks, 5 line centers, in 5 communications. Bracket line communication setting, bracket lines of 5, 5, 5, 5, center communication line setting, sets position of 6, inline communication and magnetic highway information line stream, setting calculation, electrical line wires, electrical panels, and position location, the program locations, operation surface, and set location, the ground line operation setting. Done by equation. It's all set up. All right. Now, indicating line setting is to really understand how to use the panels of operation to its locations. We have to really understand how this all works in all line connection setting, right? So in that indication line settings, 96 is already set up, line conditions of 0, line condition lines of 9, set location, right? So that panel's lines of 9, that panel lines of 9 locations, right? 9 line splits the system into flux capacitor. Now this redirects line centers at 2 position locations, right? This implicates this line connection of travel line setting. Now setting communication sets lines of an opal line rotations to a division location higher set interference. Setting calculation of a 0 line and high set location, a 0 line operation to its ground setting. Now that operates its line connections to its tube line rotation surface and set location system. This tracks lines in high line interference into a Stargate line communication. That Stargate line calculation system puts 9 panels, operation line calculation system, 2 line settings, crosses streams, line condition of 2, line position of 3, 2 panels of operation to a set location setting, direct signals. Setting calculation line position of 9, in position of 9, in position of 9, in position of 9, and 4 cross signals, line condition system. Putting 4 lines equal lines to positive or negative, line conditions of 5. 5 indicates line conditions of 9, 9 position of 6, 6 lines of 4, lines positions of 8 location settings, done by equation. So it's amazing how you set up formulas of equation location setting direct signals. All right, applied to the visual locations of 0 operation line string. Okay, so how's everybody doing so far? All right, so we got 0 line calculations of 9. 9 line setting of 0, implications of 9. We implicate 9 line setting, implicate 9 line setting of 0 operation. Ground lines have position, ground line operation string. Inner lines is calculation electrical lines and magnetic highway information lines in 2 set locations, into the sun and position location of the moon, and set location setting. Now the directing signal comes into 0 in position of 9, set location setting. The moon comes into line condition of 0 in position of 9 through setting. Now directing signal's operation to its surface location sets a galaxy line stream. Setting calculations in position locations into line connection. Travels communications in position locations, high center interference. Now this directs line calculation system puts the line connections of half pi calculations into pi. The pi recognizes line interference as line position location of string lines in the 1, 2, and 3 set location setting in direct signals. Setting calculation line interference of 0 line rotation surface and set location system. Crossing signals and set locations. Now you have to understand how this indicates its all position of crossing stream, guys. It's very powerful how it comes into sun of laser direct line setting and track location. This indicates line conditions of the moon. The moon operates its signals and set line condition system and merges into the sun of all communication and set line connections. Done by equation. All right. So it's a very powerful day we're coming into, and this is just Monday. Just Monday. All right. So a lot of 0 lines and 1 lines have to be in track lines. So we travel communication of 0, travel communication of 0, travel communication of 0. All right. Setting calculations is 3 equals line 0, 0 equals 3, and 0 equals 3 line setting. Set location system. Track lines and 9 lines and set locations in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 set location setting. Indirect signal. Energetic dome line streams. Setting line conditions UFO line rotation. UFO line rotation and 3 set line condition settings. Redirect signals, cross and stream, cross and stream, cross and stream. 0 operation, center line communication. All right. Now, line connecting is really understand how to use the 0 lines in position of 0 line, in position of 0 line, in position of 0 line. That's line condition of triangulation at 2 spot line settings. If you look really close, you can see the magnetic highway informational lines of models of calculation to a set location. Done by equation. Now, it gets tricky because the thing is, you guys are leaving your 0 lines to 12. Your foundation graph lines are changing now. So your throw pattern is coming more into a frame set location and a pattern recognition of voice lines into a face recognition setting. In that calculation line interference, you have to really understand how to use it through your throw pattern, how to really understand how to use the tone and coloration of pattern line connections. This all levels its travel line settings, right, in 96 locations. So in that direct signal line condition system, you come into alpha line settings and 3 set location of 4. Line conditions alpha, that's alpha line conditions of 4 lines, right? So line communication, the sun lines is center, okay, and moon lines is operation to set locations. Moon line crosses over and sets lines at 2 panels of operational line setting. This redirects signals, cross and string, over line cross, all right? Now, when you overcross line setting, you set a line position of an orb line channel and set location setting and direct signals. This crosses lines and set up a magnetic highway information line stream and set location system. This redirects line signals into 6 line and position location, all levels. This opens up another alpha channel in delta theta and set location setting and direct signal. Now, in that direct signal, sets electrical line panel in up signal high setting, directing signals, panel communication to a satellite and satellite connections done by equation. See how I set it up? Now, we're going to understand how it all works in set line connections. You have to really understand how to use the channel operation streams. You got 2 panel line rotations, right? 2 panel operation line connections, right? Open signals, sending communication into a magnetic highway information line setting and direct location system. Now this tracks line calculations. This puts position locations off balance in position on balance calculation to center line of operation surface and set location. Now this indicates line settings of streamlines. The rotation lines of 9, position of 6 position across lines opens another communication of its moon set location system. This redirects line settings and travel communication and set lines into the sun of operation to set location line graphs. Done by equation, all right? Setting up cluster channels of galaxy line setting stream locations. So we understand how to really understand position. Now it's going to get more complicated, right? Because we're dealing with the throat now. And so you're always going to work with 2 panels, operation line setting. And anything above that, you go around the face recognition. So that channels this line calculation setting into a calculation system and track line setting in flux capacitor communication. So we got the 0 lines on ground lines in operation into position locations into 4 line rotation. Setting calculation line interference, 5 lines and line conditions of 9 set line conditions, 9 circles and line interference, and setting line communication of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and set line condition of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 line setting line interference. Send bits from 9, 9, 9, and 9 in center calculations into Hall set line conditions 0 operation, 0 ground of service location position of track line condition. That my equation. All right. So all line center line interference, that's lines of 9 and position of 6. In position of 9, position of 6, 9 position location 9. 2 panels line center, lines of 4 and stream locations, 96, 96, 96. Setting calculation line interference, 555, balance communication. In position location of 3, 3, 3. Implication of 7, 7, 7. Implications all levels into all calculation of 2, 2, 2, 2. Security line, sending line interference in set locations of Pluto. 0 operation, 0 grounds, 0 calculations, 0 interference, and track line setting and direct signals. Now, direct line center line interference sets position locations, circle lines of 5, position of lines of 9, and position of 4 in indication. Now, this indicates line calculation into travel line setting and all calculation in position locations into triangulation line setting interface. Interface line calculations a 0 line in position of ground lines operation surface sets line communications into a tin can. Looks like a tin can, right? That tin can rotates its surface and sets lines of direct location setting into its line system. This opens all track line communication higher lines into another tin can operation to ground lines operation surface. That by equation, right? So it's really understand how to use lines of your foundation graph lines, guys. You have to really understand how to use in all ways and forms, right? So getting that line communications, you come into alpha line. Okay, there's alpha set locations. And then you cross stream into delta box into triangulation line set. Okay, travel line communication at 2 line setting. Rotation surface and position of 6 opens all channels into moon set location. All right. Now that indicates line settings of travel communication 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? That indicates line setting crosses streams and set location of 12 line rotation surface and set locations. Portal communication line setting and direct signals. Now that opens all indications to another line communication in a 12 cycle set location setting. This redirects lines of box, alpha line, center line, position of triangle, box, position of triangle, center calculation line interference, 3 triangulation lines, a new pyramid line or rotation surface, and set line condition system in a position of track line communication. All right, done my equation. All right, that's set up. Now we go through delta line waves. Delta line wave, center communication. We got 0 line grounds. We got rotation of 1 line centers, pi pi position locations into box. Always working with box and triangles, masculine and feminine, guys. Setting communication to its setting, indirect signals. Setting calculations in position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 set location settings. Indirect signal cross and streams and set lines of 3 set locations and measure. Rotate line center in position locations comes into flux capacitor, set line conditions. Travel communication indicates high setting to track line into pi of recognition of time sequence. Now, pi sequence location opens up another clock line rotation surface and high calculation setting in direct signals and set locations. This channels its line setting. Now, channel line center line inference sets line communications high center line condition of 0, in position of 0, in position of 0, and 3 set locations, in position of 3, in position location of 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, center line condition of 9, 6, 7, 8, and 9 line setting and set location system. Setting and position loading track line. Setting line conditions, we cross the stream on the other side line condition system. Setting line position of 0, 0, 0, line position of 4, line position of 5, position location of 6 line calculations. All right. 96 line setting line position of throw pattern, calculation setting line and direct line signal, cross streams and 12 line rotation surface and set locations in the opposite line conditions to the sun line and rotation surface and set locations. Done by equation. It's all done. So try to understand what's going on, right? It's complicated. So it's really understand how to line signal your operation line setting and rotation surface when you understand your correlation system to your galaxy line settings, the shift anomalies to understand where they indicate and go in position of 0 lines in set location system. So it's really understand how this all works in set location in your settings, guys. You have to really recognize your foundations of your 12s, right? Your position locations now change in all set locations, especially the ones that are in activation line setting. You're an I-12 operation, no longer an I-9. In a CPU line rotation surface and set location system. So we take the circle line calculation setting and a Fibonacci line setting rotations, right? We take the indication line center rotations into 0 operation and ground line rotation surface. Setting calculation line interference sets a communication to all levels in this direct line setting in direct location into 2 set line connections. Setting that communication to a system in track line communication. Now that indicates line setting that rotates its surface locations into box, into triangle, setting box equal line to triangle, set location system, triangle line conditions, box into triangle, setting communication in position, in position, and position location of 4 line settings. Okay, done by equation. All right, so that's set up through geographic map line calculation setting to all levels. Master and communications, the triangulation line setting and rotation surface sets position of 3, 6, and 9. So this gets really interesting. Take the box line, it's 3, 6, and 9 set location setting, right? So this is how it works when you go to higher line, set line interference. Understand the Merkabah's position location track lines and 0 operation to surface location system. Now this tracks line setting. This sets all position locations. Now this implicates its line centers of an interception line setting, a travel communication, all right? Center lines is 0 operation center, 0 operation center locations, triangulation to box line. So the box line changes line communication of 6 and sets of 9, okay? So sending communication of 6 and 9 comes together in set location system in direct signals. Setting direct signals in positional levels opens all signal line rotation surface into moon operation to the sun. Sun's here in set line communication setting. Sun there, moon here, set location of travel. Travel line centers, center communication, set lines of 3 sets. Now this opens all signals and all calculations to 2 panels operation line stream. That direct signal locations implicates its line center operations surface location of travels. Entire calculation setting into your pyramids operation surface and set locations. Done by equation. All right. So we got balanced signal locations all levels. The calculation of your binary line setting is set line conditionized system that sets up perimeter line interference of half pi. Half pi position locations up, half pi position locations in downshift line conditionized system. Directing signal location equal lines of box, inline condition system, equal line conditions of box, and high center line condition setting. So box lines of triangle, triangle line position location operation setting. So we take the box line center, we take the triangle line center line interference, and we find a way to balance out the communication setting in direct signals in its position location to its new lines of new tesseract line calculation system to a tetrahedron line operation stream of travel communication. Done by equation, all right? Setting communication all levels of box lines and training lines are now in set communication setting. Zero line, zero line, zero line, zero line. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. So the zero lines change line communications. All levels. It gets more tricky as we go higher. Position locations, all levels. This sets lines communications, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we got 2 lines of track lines of zeros, and we got 3 panels. So you guys are coming in constellation paths at 3 set line conditions. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so we got panels of communication. We split it in position locations into 4 line settings. Now, setting communication is really understand how to use the lines of 0 lines and rotation of 3 sets. Setting can be high interference is balancing communication into 2 set line conditions. Travel communication is crisscrossing line set line conditions. This travel communication is operation to its surface location. It's all about understanding how to balance out 6 lines in set lines of 9 set location settings, directing signals in a higher calculation line setting into 9 lines of center in 6 position of center operation that tubes its center in communication to downline shift in position. Down my equation. So in that line setting line interference, you have to understand how this sets lines position location of tone lines. And setting a tone line is really understand how to set communication or interference. So I got the 0 line rotation, 0, 0, 0, 3, and 4. 4 sets line communication line conditions at all levels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got a triangulation line setting up, 5 line setting, and 4 line direction. Right, 5 here, 4 here. Okay. Now you have to indicate high interference how you change the 5 in position of 4. 54 line setting line interference sets position locations all setting. We take the 4 line, 5 line interference. 5 equals location of 9. 9 equals line conditions. That's negative over positive, which adds line calculation system. Positive over negative line calculation system. On your rotation surface and set line conditions of travel set line conditions. So that puts automatic line interference of 96 line calculation system of 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 in set location system. On my equation. All right, so indicates all levels of your electrical line panels, the rotation surface, and ground lines. So this is where we come into omega interference and line condition graph line stream location, right? Now, we got line communication is setting, right? Line communication is setting, and line communication is setting. 3 set line conditions, right? So that's 3 over 6 over 9 set, okay? Now we take the triangulation line setting and rotation surface, triangles communication to ground lines rotation into a 0 operation surface line conditions. Now, understanding how to use the graph lines to all lines, electrical lines, and position location to your sun, and position location to your moon set line conditions of travel. Now, travel line calculation system crisscross its line setting in all direct signals, setting communication in an opposite cycle high lines of force recognition of time sequence. Now that time sequence line conditions of half pi in a 6 line setting rotates its surface locations in position location that opens up levels of an energetic dome line into a seed pod line setting rotation. That my equation. All right. So you really have to understand the birth lines of your number sequence pattern, especially when you come into higher calculation streamlines. Okay, so we got energetic graph line streams now in 2 set line conditions. All right. Setting direct signals. Okay. Panels operation. Okay, sun communication, moon operation, center line, okay, kaleidoscope location. Now, sun operates its line signals and set line conditions that it travels. Bullseye through the center line calculations. Panels, lines, rotations, all levels of 6. 6 lines is calculation setting and position of 9. 9 comes into the center line in position location of 6. 6 opens up all streamline conditions of balanced communication into a new dimensional realm of rotation surface and set locations. Done by equation. Now it's done in set location. All right, weaving signals and code line activation line setting is all about understanding how to use the rotation spin cycle. Now the spin cycle has to really recognize all calculate modify, right? So we got a track line interference now. Setting position locations. All right, so we got 4 lines of 8. 48 setting lines, right? Equal conditions of 0, equal conditions of 9. Sets line position locations, right? So we take the 48 window, setting communication of 4 and position of 8. 8 sets in infinity and set location setting. This redirects line signals back in track line conditions. 8 line setting, in line condition 8, in position 8, in position of 8. And this set lines of 4. 8 position line, 8 position line, 8 position line, 8 position location of 4. Setting calculation line and position of track line. Setting oval line rotation surface and calculation settings. So that's 4 line setting, that's 4 line activations and line interference and track line kinetic system. So we take the 4 line equal lines of 1 line center line position of 5. 5 lines its rotation system puts line position of 4 at location of 9. 9 line center line position of 6 and center communications. Opens all channels and energy wash line stream. 1 position 2, 3, 4. 4 line centers and graph lines in position of 8, 8, 8, 8. Is set of calculations, crosses stream lines in the opposite direct line setting locations. Into 4 set lines of graph line stream and set locations and road graph line setting. Done by Quay. All right. So the energetic road graph line center to electrical line wires and communication is now set up. All right. Now getting into the zero line operation, zero operation, 3 set location settings, right? So this is the three sets line setting. Setting position of 6 into 7 in position 8 and 9 in the center. Okay. 9 line center line interference. So we take the 9 lines, the 0 line, equal lines of 9, 9 the line position crosses over 0 and operation surface and set location system. Now, this operation system is really understand how to use the moon line rotation of 6. 6 panels is cross lines at 2 streams. Setting calculation line interference. 0 line interference, 7 lines equals 3. Line condition system is 10. Line position 11. 11 and 12 line puts position location into solar panels. Stargate line center location into solar stream. Setting direct signals in set location system into solar system and set line conditions. Done by equation. All right. So there's a lot of streamlines that has to be in all levels of energetic graph lines. Lacing lines in position of 3. Okay. So we come into gravitational lines in position locations into a pole line and rotation surface. Now this directs lines of magnetic highway information line setting, high set locations. This sets line position locations at 2 line rotation. Setting communications, center line interference. Setting direct line interference and position locations all levels. This opens all indication to its setting into a new line center of a center operation to its system. This opens all channel line calculation setting. Now, once you get into that indication, you understand the travel lines of 6 lines of 9 and 9 levels of 6. Right? 6 and 9 is what? Is yin and yang. So all you're doing is your position location is you're changing the 6 and 9 and 9 to 6 in position location of center that operates the system locations because the 6 line and the 9 line has to recognize each other from 9 and 6. That platted to its division locations. So you're working with 6, 9, 6, 9 in set location setting. This directs line setting in 6, 9 and 6, 9 location system. A space line and timeline of sequence location, splinter line and set lines to a new orb channel in an operational line condition to its Hubble that sets line condition to its hub and center communication setting indirect signals to higher calculations to its own line rotation surface and set location system. Indirect line signals and set location. All right, that's done now. So getting to understand what is going on with your set lines of communication of numbers is really understand how to use the foundation graph lines, how to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? How to understand the 12 lines, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 line, position of 4, 4 lines there, 3 lines been of 2, 2 is offline setting, put 1 positions back in track, 0 is not ground lines, put it back in position location of 1. 1 indicates it's 2, 2 is offline in position. Where's 3 line connection? 4 is the soul generation lines. 5 are the heart generation lines, timeline, state location, 6 and throw pattern, 6 over 9, 9 over 6, line conditionized systems, 9, 6, 9, 6, center line appearance of 6, 9, 6, 9, position of track lines, balance communication. Everything that I'm saying is all levels of balance. Why? Because I know exactly how to use the number of frames in set location of frames. Framing line center is true to understand how it's put in form location system and how you use it through all settings. You have to really how to understand how to use the track lines of interference location of channel operation locations in set line conditions of 69, 69. In set locations. Done by equation. Right? So 6, 9 is position location of space. And 6, 9 is position location of time. It's all set line conditionized system. This puts position location how to put line condition of 96 together in set line condition system. So going through that override, calculates and modify how you use the foundation line streams of your set location system, guys. All right. I know we're traveling through 1 hour and almost 20-minute line calculation setting, but this has to get done in set location system, especially when you come into hard line settings. Once you reach the track lines of 100 line rotation interference, then we go into timelines. High calculations into multi-universe, multi-line conditions, multi-division line conditions, multi-dimensional lines, intergalactic lines, interdimensional lines. It's all calculation mega-universe, megaverse line condition system. There's all communications you have to understand through operation surface and sublocations. All right? All right, 5-10 minutes to get you guys started, and I'll see you on Zoom. Take track lines, take the team back in position locations, and line sending. See you soon. Adios.